Hi there, it's Richard from OneSight Solutions. In this training video we're going to be looking at the hierarchy, which is a dynamic navigation tree. To create a hierarchy we have to set it up underneath services. So there's a hierarchy service here. And to view the hierarchy you need to go down to this area here where it's where you go to view your hierarchies. So there's nothing in there at the moment, I haven't set any up. But what we're going to be doing is using my tags that I've added to my station. So I've added, just for this demonstration, a couple of fan coil units. It's just a blank wire sheet, but it's this actual folder here. I've added some tags to there. So this one I've added some geographical tags, a couple of marker tags. These are string tags, so we put the query would be OGO county and the result would be Hampshire. Okay, so it's whatever text you put in there. So I'll show you how they work in a minute. But basically, I've set all of these up with the correct tags on them. So when I set my hierarchy up, it should work. So let's go and set a hierarchy up. Let's just go for a very basic hierarchy first. So we need to open up the palette for the hierarchy. And there's a few rules to how these we use these level definitions. These are our queries, and there's a rule to how they work. So for the hierarchy to work at all, you have to have at least one query level definition or one relation level definition. So you have to have at least one of the top two there. A group level definition will create a new branch to the result tree. That's where you'd have more like a geographical kind of hierarchy. And a list will create a list, and a named group goes in a list, so that would be part of the list. So the first thing you have to add is a list. If you want to create a list, the first thing you have to add is a list level definition, and then on top of that you add a name group definition on top of the list level definition. It takes a little bit of getting used to. So to start a hierarchy, you have to drop a hierarchy component onto your hierarchy service. So I'm just going to do a very simple hierarchy initially. And it's going to be my points. So if I go to my quick search and just do an n point, so n being the Niagara namespace, n colon. So every point on my station has got an endpoint tag on it by default. It's an implied tag that's been added using a Niagara tag dictionary. So there's a list of what if I do. That's just doing a search. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just do the same thing, but this time put it into a query. So all of this is the most basic type of hierarchy. So I'm now going to add a query level definition to my point hierarchy, and in the double click on the query, and in the query I'm just going to put endpoint. Okay, so now if I go down to my hierarchy, if I unfold it, it hasn't changed. So every time you make a change to a hierarchy, you have to right click on it and refresh it. So that's where you do it on the hierarchy, not on the not here. So now it's worked. If I double click on it, it's a list of all my points on my station using that n colon point query. Okay, so that's a very basic one. So now if I set one up for my fan coil units, so I need to add another hierarchy. This time I call it fan coil units. Okay, so now I'm going to add a group level definition to this, and I don't need to rename that, but my group level definition I need to put a query in there. So this would be so I've added these OneSight Solution tags, which are geo address I can use, and then I have to have at least a query. So I'm going to do this step by step so you can see what's happening. So on here I'm just going to put a fan coil unit, fan coil unit. So when I go and look at the results now and refresh my tree, I've got a fan query in it. It's come up with the forge, the building, and then it's come up with all my fan query in it. So I've only got two on the ground floor, 2 on the first floor. So it's found these tags on these folders there, and so it's using. So I've looked for this geo address and it's found the forge there. So because they've all got the same text in them, they've all been in the they've all come up in underneath the forge. So if I go back to my query and just change it slightly, so if I just duplicate my group level definition, and now I'm going to just change that query to geo floor. Now I have to reorder my hierarchy, because so right click on the hierarchy, say reorder, and move my group up above the query. It always has to end in a query level definition, so that's always, there is a rule to setting the order up correctly in these hierarchies as well. So now if I refresh my tree again, so if I go to fan query units now, I've got the forge, and then I've got the 2 floors, and the 2 on the first floor are underneath the first, and 2 underneath the ground floor are on the ground floor. So that's worked because, in fact, if I show you something, if you right click on config and go to views, you can go to the metadata browser, and then you can navigate to these the ground floor and the first floor, and you can see the tags I've put on there. So they've all got a marker tag fan query unit. They've all got so these 2 have got ground tags on them, and these have got first. They've all got the forge. They've all got Yateley, Hampshire. I didn't use those, but you can see how that's worked now. So this is a good place to go and view where you can only see direct tags here, tags that have been added directly, not implied tags, underneath the metadata browser. Okay, so the last one then, I'll just do a quick list hierarchy. So again, go to my services, to my hierarchy service, and add another hierarchy. So I won't bother renaming this one just yet because I'm not sure what to call it. But on this one now, I'm going to add a list level definition. So just drop it up at your nav sidebar. And on this list level definition, I'm going to add a name group. And I do have to rename that. I should have renamed that then. So this might be my alarms. Okay, and inside this name group level definition, it's looking for a query. So if you go to your alarm console and right click on it and look at the tags, if you go and look at the implied tags, you've got n:type alarm console. If I just copy this text in this box, I can't copy the whole thing, and just put that in there as a query. So it's an implied tag, and then you have to put equals, open speech mark, paste that into there. Okay, so now it should bring back my alarm consoles. If I have more than one, it would just look at the type. So it's only looking at the type, not the name. So that's going to be my alarms, and if I duplicate that, so I could put schedules. Now all my schedules, I've added OneSight tags to them, so I can change this query on my schedule. Schedule, and then one final one, I can put my boiler points. So this is just an example. You can pretty much do a query on most things. So my boiler points, I've added a smart tag dictionary which are adding all these points, so they're going to be implied ones, but they're just adding boilers. Boiler tags in the STD dictionary. And now if I again remember the rules, I have to add a query level definition or a relation level definition for this to work. So this level query level has to have something which is common to all of these results. So if you did have one query which would is common to all these results, you could just put that in there. I don't have that, so what you can do is if I just copy this one, go back to my query level definition. What I can do is just put the syntax or between each one. So copy all of these, copy that one as well. It's a bit of a cheat really, but it's a nice quick way of doing it. And then do another or, and do my final boiler points one, which was STD boiler. So I can type that in. So it's a STD boiler. So I'm hoping this is going to work. So go down to the bottom now, my hierarchy, refresh it again. So I didn't rename the hierarchy, but I could have renamed that. So I've got my alarm, so that should be result in my alarm console. So I can double click on that now, and that's got my alarms. This is the whole thing is the console. In my schedules, I've got all my different schedules that I set up, and in my boiler points, I've got all my boiler points. So you see that it doesn't take that long once you get an understanding of how all these queries work, all these level definitions. You can set these hierarchies up pretty quick. It's easy to duplicate them and make small changes and things like that as well. So once you set hierarchies up, when you come to setting user roles up, you assign the hierarchies here, so you can select which hierarchies they can see and which ones they can't see on each user role, and then a role gets added to a user. Okay, so that really ends this lab on hierarchy. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, please subscribe at the bottom and click on like. See you next time. Bye.